the running backs. Talk about big NIL investments in the transfer portal. Maybe the biggest that Michigan made this offseason on this side of the ball was for Justice Haynes, who I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think ended the portal cycle as the number 3 ranked running back, according to On3. I have to go look at that here. But anyways, a guy that comes over from Alabama that you watch his film and you're like, man, he is a Michigan running back. He's got the power. He's got I think he's got a lot of home run ability that you can kind of still tap into. I think it's the Missouri game last year where he has that run where he puts his shoulder down, basically headbutts a guy and accelerates up the right sideline for a touchdown run. It was pretty fun to watch. So, when we saw what Jordan Marshall did in the bowl game, but there wasn't really, when this team is at its best, they've had that 1-2 punch at running back. And Ben Hall wasn't going to be that with Jordan Marshall. He's now at North Carolina. Cole Cabana's out of the room. Kalel Mulling's gone. Donovan Edwards gone. This was a worthwhile investment for them. And when we talk about all of the parts that make up what this offense is going to be and how can they best build around Bryce Underwood this particular season, it's going to start with that offensive line, and it's going to start by, I think, keeping both Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes fed in both the run game and the passing game too.
And I talked to Tim Watts from Alabama on 3 for the football preview, and he said, Justice is not the guy that's going to bowl you over. We saw Jordan Marshall break how many tackles in the bowl game? Talking to Jansen, he said, yeah, maybe the offensive line was a little better, but Marshall did a lot of that on his own, and the film backs that up. You're talking about a guy who had how many yards after contact, and Haynes can break some tackles, as we saw against some of those teams. I think it was Western Kentucky where he had the bowling ball run. But more than that, he's a strider who is patient, and he finds the hole and waits and explodes through it. So that's according to Watts. So, and I like that about him. We saw it in the spring game when he got to the outside. We saw his speed. He's going to be a really nice compliment to Jordan Marshall. So had to get him, because I don't think Ben Hall, even if it was just him here as a number 2 back, I don't think Ben Hall was that guy. I think Ben Hall is just a guy, frankly, and maybe he'll prove me wrong by going to North Carolina, not to be rude about it. But to me, this was an absolutely necessary addition. So really love the 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, absolute stud. We saw it at Alabama firsthand. I remember being at the Rose Bowl, and Haynes was kind of ripping off some of those long runs, 9, 11 yards, gashing Michigan a little bit in that second half. And I didn't really know much about Haynes. He was one of 3 guys who got some snaps, but he didn't really get many. And I remember asking Andy Staples, like, is this some like highly rated freshman or something like that? He's like, yes, he might be the best running back on this team right now. And he might have been talent-wise that year. And then last season, was kind of splitting reps with Jam Miller, started the first 6 games, came off the bench the second 6, but again, very evenly split reps essentially, and they were playing in a backfield with a running quarterback in Jalen Milroe, so the opportunities weren't necessarily there, but they're going to come here regardless of how good Jordan Marshall ends up being this year. And I think Jordan Marshall's an absolute stud, and he's going to be really good. So I think it's an awesome duo. I find it very cool too that they're not going around constantly talking about being the best running back duo in the country and all this stuff that you hear from Ohio State's backs last year, and they might have been, right? But like, they're just flying kind of under the radar nationally when you read a lot of this national stuff, and I think they might be right there. So I'm excited to watch these two in Haynes that we're talking about here, and to give the official stats on Jordan Marshall's bowl game, which is still ridiculous to look back at: 12 forced missed tackles, 82 yards after contact, 3.42 yards after contact per rush. Absolute warrior in that game. The dirty being just completely dirty at the end of the game said everything about what that performance was. It was gutsy. And really, the Benjamin Hall carries in that game were like just to give Jordan Marshall a break. He just ran into the line for like a couple yards. Yeah. And then and they were useful in that respect because it was a low-scoring game. You had to possess the ball. But they were just to give him a breather, and then that you get Marshall back out there and he could do his thing. And he got stronger as the game went on. He ripped off some big runs at the end, especially the longest one, 24 yards. So, man, I think this is a hell of a tandem.
And he was number 43 prospect of the transfer portal, number 3 running back. So I had that right. And you got a couple guys who were both top 100 recruits coming out of high school, and I think at the running back position, that's you got 2 stars there. You got 2 guys that I think are going to be sort of the heartbeat of this thing if all goes according to plan this year.